Like I said, I've been thinking about my dad a lot lately, and what I valued in him as a father, especially with work taking so much of my time. Something that I really value is being present. That's something my wife has really taught me, is trying to be present. I haven't been great at it. See what happens.
Dude, we always like jump in wherever we want to go, but the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that you pulled up in a Bronco. So tell me that story.
Oh,
Because we have another Man Games guy, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby Macy.
Has Bobby Bronco.
I was jealous that he pulled up with his there. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for 2.5 years. Yeah, ordered that thing.
2.5 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago when they first
Wow.
let you order that.
Did you customize the whole thing? Were you picking colors? Were you picking interiors and everything?
Yeah, and I picked everything that would pretty much delay it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
all of those features, but worth it. And it finally showed up a couple weeks ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Worth it?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fits in the garage a little better than the truck did.
You had a big truck before.
Way too big.
Yeah.
My tiny self. Overcompensation for sure.
No. With the weather today, you want something that can handle
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah. This has actually been a lot better than snow.
Yeah.
A little more weight in the back.
We're recording this on a day where I think we had like 21 inches of snow in a 24-hour period. That's
Too
intense.
much snow.
Are you do you ski, snowboard, anything like that?
I spent a lot of time snowboarding. I taught snowboarding lessons in college.
Oh, cool.
Started skiing when I was 2 years old. My mom was a big ski bum, but haven't in the last few years.
Yeah.
These old knees and that back.
I've never been, but I have a lot of people that try to get me to go. And it's kind of to your point, because I have bad knees from tennis and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if I'm going to go do something that's going to hurt my knees, I don't want to do it doing something that I'm going to look stupid.
100%. Right? I'm all for that.
I'll be like tumbling
That's how I feel
down the
about this
mountain.
upcoming swimming event.
Ooh, dude, you're going to love it. Swimming's going to be so fun.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm tempted to be like, okay, if people want to wear floaties, then they can wear floaties.
I look good in floaties. I do know that.
Dude, that's awesome. All right. I'm going to knock out a few of the questions.
Yeah, let's do
And I think that we might get into some deep topics here, just as I was thinking through things. So
I'm in.
But because this is the start, we can actually play this at the beginning. If this was a question on Instagram, if you had a walkout song every time that you entered a room, think like professional wrestling or baseball, what would that song be and why?
Someone asked this not that long ago in some work meeting to kick things off and build morale. And I went with We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel.
All right.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why does that appeal to you?
Mostly because I like to start some fires here and there. Like to stir things up, Plus,
Nice.
It's just a banger.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Dude, we're going to play that at the beginning of this episode.
I hope
so. I
so.
can track it down.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure we don't get a copyright infringement.
I'm sure Billy's coming after us.
Dude, so this one came through as well. Tell us about your dodgeball team sports class in high school. So I don't know what's going on here, so you'll have to elaborate.
John?
Yes.
Okay, he knows. It was a gym class full of most of the athletes in the school, and we just played dodgeball for an entire year, pretty much.
Wow.
It was out of control. Too much dodgeball. A lot of fist fights and things like that. I got a little rowdy in there from time to time, but I was a football coach, and he would just sit there and smirk anytime anyone got hit in the head, and just let things go, let things pan out how they were supposed to.
Is that where your dodgeball gifts originated? I mean, because in the Man Games event, you were a stud in dodgeball.
I don't know. I might have been born with it. It's between that and the reps we put in the team sports class. But yeah, probably that and playing baseball growing up.
What athletes did well in the dodgeball class back in high school besides like the baseball guys?
The basketball team they're all really sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
John specifically, a little sniper.
Yeah,
that's what he was nicknamed. A lot of brute forcey football players, not so great.
Yeah,
but yeah, mostly the basketball team and the baseball team.
Baseball guys.
Yeah.
Take me through that. What did your high school athletics look like?
I lived in my brother's shadow. He's younger than me, but you've golfed with him. Yeah, he's the athlete in the family.
Yeah.
More of a math guy is what I like to say. But mostly just played baseball through high school, and that was really it. Yeah. I hit puberty really, really late. I was like 19, 20. I graduated high school like 5'6", 5'7", 145, 150 pounds.
Wow.
And then went to college for a year. I went and did my thing for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then came back at like 5'8", like 190 pounds, and all of a sudden could run a little bit and do things a little bit. So
Yeah.
tried
Well,
out some other stuff.
what position did you play in baseball?
Mostly third base, and then just forced my way out into right field because Vlad Guerrero was my hero,
Yeah.
and I could be a little lazier out there. I didn't have much of a work ethic through high school.
Dude, if you're playing third, that means you got the cannon. The cannon
had to
is
have a little
third.
bit of an arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's sweet. I played a little bit of baseball growing up. Stopped
Yeah.
right when I got to high school.
Yeah.
But Jordan had a decent baseball team.
Yeah,
if you
really,
ever-
really good squad.
Yeah. But then you played rugby. How did you get into rugby?
I have a lot of cousins that played rugby, a couple All-Americans at the University of Utah. Yeah, and it just seemed like a fun sport and translated really easily for me and better fit than I think baseball was or anything else before that.
Did you start that after high school?
I started in college, yeah. I started
Okay.
at SUU.
That's crazy. And then you played against, was it Ryan?
Yes. He's a
What's that story?
The man's a machine.
How does SUU match up against
They
BYU?
They don't. They won all 4 years, the national championship that I played. All 4 years I played, so that was great.
Yeah.
Ryan is an absolute beast, and he's so nice about it too. Is the problem. But when we played him, the last time I played him, it was like 98-3,
Wow.
and we were really excited about them being 98 because the other teams in the state were letting them get over 100.
Wow.
I got yelled at for kicking the 3 points by the rest of the team. We weren't going to punch it in. There's no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does rugby work? I don't even understand. I get like you're trying to get to that end zone and down it or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But so you can kick it instead
Yeah.
to score?
Yeah. Active field goal post type things. And
Okay.
yeah. Anytime there's a penalty, you can kick it, or in the middle of the game, you can drop kick it, old school style, Doug Flutie style. Shout out Doug. But yeah, 3 points, you're good to go.
Dude, that's awesome. What did you enjoy about rugby that was a kind of a change of pace from baseball?
More violent, honestly.
Yeah.
One referee, 30 dudes,
Hmm.
talk a lot of smack, get away with a lot of things, but I could drop some dimes
Yeah.
mostly, and I really liked sacrificing my body and back,
Yeah.
trying to get people to score 2-on-1s type of things. I think basketball honestly translates most to rugby more than any of the other sports I've played.
In
Surprisingly.
what way? How come?
Just creating space for each other.
Okay.
At least offensively, I think it relates the most.
Yeah.
Communication-wise, actually surprisingly similar. I was better at, there's a 7-on-7 version,
Mm-hmm.
and our school's kind of more catered to that, smaller, faster, shiftier guys.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of like setting picks for each other, or is that not
No,
allowed?
you can't go behind anyone. That was a weird type of thing. I wish they were setting picks. Yeah. But I noticed my basketball game improved the more I was playing rugby, so I made it a lot more fun.
Interesting. So the ball carrier can't go behind their own team? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, like it seems like, because I've watched a handful of time. My best friend growing up was Donnie. He's Polynesian.
yeah.
So we like the rugby side of things was always interesting to watch. But it seems like there are these speedsters out wide and then just big dudes just wrecking
Right.
things in the middle.
100%. And there's normally one little snot-nosed guy in the middle of the big guys
Yeah,
acting like they can hang, and that was me most of the time.
so cool. Here's the thing I don't understand. What causes a turnover outside of just me throwing it to the wrong team?
Dropping the ball forward.
Okay.
That's realistically about it. Tackling high, tackling above the shoulders, and not wrapping up, taking someone on the ground. There's really not a ton of rules, honestly.
So if I have the ball and I get tackled, our team will maintain possession as long as I just sit there and let it go, and then the team comes and grabs
There's
it.
this thing called a ruck that's formed, kind of a really sloppy line of scrimmage type thing,
Mm-hmm.
where people are just locking up over the ball. So if you get tackled, you have to place the ball behind you, and someone's coming up, the little snot-nosed guy, and kind of restarting everything.
Yeah.
And that's like where that ball is, where that person was tackled, is kind of that new line of scrimmage.
Huh.
And until that ball's passed out, no one can really cross through that line.
And then if it goes out of bounds, that's where everyone's lifting each other up and throwing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Short shorts is really what got me with the sport.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
really appealed to you there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Showing off the legs.
Oh, yeah.
Here's one just to kick us off with your favorite. Well, is JD your favorite person that you met at Man Games?
Yes.
Specifically, what do you like about him most? He will accept body parts for an answer.
We have a rule in our house: no kink shaming. I think it's JD's got some nice feet on him. You know, Yeah, good proportionate feet on him. I hope he likes that answer.
He's got good feet. That is so awesome. So if you saw the Brandon podcast, Brandon grew up in Idaho.
Potato guy.
We had a lot of
much.
potato question, well, a lot of potato discussion.
Russeting.
Yeah, you
Blew my mind.
learned all about it. What are your top 3 potato foods?
Funeral potatoes.
Ooh, those are good.
Definitely.
Do you go with onions or without onions?
I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
It took me some time to work my way up to the onions. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
What
really
are your
big-
other 2?
I love French fries, Cajun fries.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for those.
Where's your favorite French fry establishment? Like if your go-to?
I love Five Guys Cajun fries.
Yeah.
Just for a nice, quick bite.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's dinner for me far too often.
That's nice.
Really healthy guy. That's how I prepare for Madden games. Junk food.
Dude, it's an excuse for me. Like it's like, oh, I wasn't eating, I wasn't exercising. No wonder I just
Exactly.
If I would have tried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly why we took class.
Yeah. What's your third
potato
favorite
thing.
potato?
This is a tough one. I love potato chips too. I think
Yeah.
just the classic potato chip fry.
All right.
Funeral potatoes, Utah guy.
Dude, there you go.
Yeah.
I have an assignment for you. Try Ruby River. If you've
Okay.
ever been there before,
Mhm.
there's one downtown now. There used to be
Yeah.
one at Jordan Commons, and now it's gone.
Oh, I didn't realize it was gone.
But the one downtown, they have a jacketed baked potato. They deep fry it, and then they got like bacon. You can get sour cream, butter, cheese. It's
Kind of
awesome.
like twice baked potato vibes.
Yeah, but it's got like this outer coating of
Fried goodness.
fried just deliciousness. Yeah. So
That would help me look even better in my short shorts.
and they're big. They got to be russets because they're huge.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
Brandon approved.
Brandon approved. What reality TV show would you be cast for?
Oh, that's horrifying. Oh. I don't have the looks for a Love Island. I couldn't survive in a Naked and Afraid. Alone, I would make it one day. Maybe, I don't know if you remember Next from the
Next?
early 2000s, the MTV thing.
What was next? What's the premise?
People would get on a bus and they're all going on the same date, but it would go on a line kind of. Your name gets called and you go off the bus, and when they say next, you're out and the date's over, or you make it to the end.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't make it very far, but
Get
yeah,
a free ride in a bus.
exactly. This is in the popped collar era, so
That's awesome.
the pickup lines were incredible. I'm sure I could fit in great.
Dude, that is beautiful. We have more. I'm gonna kind of sprinkle them.
Yeah.
I don't want to just like
Whatever
go
you
all out
want.
all at once.
I'm in.
So tell me about your profession. Okay, so what your company, Hive Design,
Yeah, Hive Design Group.
Hive Design Group. Tell me about that.
Architecture firm. I don't even know where to start. Couple of
Who comes to you? Who do you help?
developers for the most part, is real estate developers. Every once in a while, we'll get clients through engineers or through general contractors, but for the most part, just word of mouth and other developers talk, and it's kind of a small world. I didn't realize until I got deeper into it, but yeah.
And why do they need an architect?
Okay, so a lot of times people end up with, hey, I got this really awesome opportunity to pick up this plot of land.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this with it. Can I? And if I can, how big can I go? How many apartment units? Can I do a restaurant? If so, do I have to do a rezone through the city, through certain municipalities, things like that? And we can kind of do that. And that's something we do up front for free for people. And that's kind of the unique thing about us, because we know we can turn around quicker than most places.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what you can get. Here's a little feasibility study. So that's kind of how Brad and I work together.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot of his company's stuff.
So if I go and I buy a plot of land, I tell you it's this big, it's in this area, I want to build this, then you could come in and say like, okay, you can build that, but here are some things that you need to keep in mind. Here's what you would need to build around that.
Yeah, you can build this close to the property line. You can get this many square feet. You can't ever do an addition. The HOA is real tough there, type of things like that. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, diving heavy into city ordinances for the most part.
And so I have a few family members who are engineers, and it seems like they were always kind of butting heads with architects.
Oh, yeah.
Is that kind of like the architects, like,
yeah.
here's the cool design, and the engineer's like, yeah, you can't build
Yeah,
that?
it's a nerd beef that we have going for sure. It was we designed something and just like, make it stand up, please. And sometimes our ideas are far-fetched, but I came from the engineering side of things.
Okay.
I was in school for engineering. I was working in engineering, and it was a little too straightforward for me.
Yeah.
You needed some abstract thinking and to push those engineers a little bit,
Yeah.
make them smile or laugh sometimes.
Does that help you in your interaction with engineers now because you came from that to help your designs kind of fit what is realistic?
I think so. I've felt that. I think it tempers expectations sometimes, which can be good and bad. But for the most part, I think it's been a positive thing. Well, that's unrealistic, and here's why.
Yeah.
We can't really build this because you kind of need plumbing in that building, and there's no way to get that with this wild design we have. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What is it about the architecture industry that most people don't realize or don't understand?
There's we're not as good at math as people think we are. Yeah, I don't use any of the formulas we learned in school that I
Yeah.
really honestly thought I would be using because I wanted to kind of go into this field from the time I was in like 4th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's as hard as a lot of architects want to make it out to be.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like people try to keep that to themselves and want to place our profession higher than it realistically is
Yeah.
and hold on to the art of it a little too much.
Yeah. My really only understanding of architecture came from a book, The Fountainhead.
Yeah, you
Right,
did. You recommended that one to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So the I guess hero, if you will, of that book is an architect, and
Yeah,
the whole story
it's on my
revolves
list.
around that. Yeah.
It's the only thing on the list, but
Nice. It's
you
a
made
big
it- You made a
book.
list for me.
I think it's like 700
saying it was
pages or
lengthy.
something. It's a big book, but if you listen to books,
Oh, a big
listening is-
audiobook
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's easier on that.
You did plan me a road trip here soon.
Yeah, dude, set it to like 3 times the speed as you're listening,
There you go.
and then you just slowly lower it to where you can understand it,
That's not a bad move.
and it'll blow your mind.
I actually really like that.
Kind of changed my life.
I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah. So we were on a road trip, and when you get into my truck, it automatically connects to the phone and starts playing whatever book I'm on. And so we got in, and my wife got in, and it started just going fast, like. Brrr. She's like, "How can you listen to this? This is crazy." And I said, "Well, watch." So I set it to 3 times the speed, and I was like, "You tell me when you can understand it, like when it makes sense to you." And so I just slowly start lowering it,
Mm-hmm.
and she got to like 2.15 times the speed.
Interesting.
She's like, "I can understand it. Like, this is comfortable for me." And I'm like, "Great." So we start listening to it. We were driving for 5 hours or whatever. And I was like, "Watch this." Lower it down to 1. And it's like this.
Yeah,
It
you
felt-
adjust to that.
It felt
Huh.
so slow. So your brain just kind of like
Interesting.
reconfigures itself. So
What was it originally set at?
it depends on the narrator for sure. So mine fluctuates.
Yeah.
There was a book it was about Pete Rose. He did like an autobiography. I could get that one
Free
at
Pete.
3. Yeah,
Free Pete.
exactly. Have you read the book?
No.
It's his perspective, and I didn't know the whole story. I definitely
I'd
am
love to
along the
hear
lines
it
of
from
like,
him. I've
man,
seen
like,
his documentary about
Yeah,
it, but I'd love to
yeah.
hear it book style.
because I heard he bet on baseball and all this stuff,
Right.
but he never bet on his games or against his team. And in
Exactly.
my mind, that's where it's like, oh, if you're betting against your team and you're throwing games, that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. So.
Right.
But that one I could do it 3 times. Other ones are at 2 or somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Free the Hit King.
Yeah. Amazing story. Really, really cool. Okay, so back to that. How did your group start? How did that all happen?
So I was working at a firm in Bountiful, North Salt Lake area, and I was kind of getting fed up and really wanted to leave and go to a different firm, kind of venture out. And some random dude came in with an architecture license and having to have played rugby in college, and I went in and wanted to quit. And they're like, "What can we do to get you to stay? Who can we have you work with?" And I just put that guy, first person I saw, and we worked really well together. And there were some efficiencies that were there that we definitely recognized, and started just digging into the numbers and realized we're not bad at this. We just really, really polished our craft and waited for a really big opportunity. Got a massive opportunity on some large apartments that were out of our wheelhouse, but because we were ready and willing to make mistakes, but also willing to fix those mistakes, people trusted us on that, and we realized we could do that elsewhere. So, yeah, we went to meet some developers, and they tried to hire us on the spot. We were not prepared for that, and led to a big project. And asked them, let them know, like, "Hey, we're not going to be with this firm anymore. Just so you know, we can put you in contact with those who are replacing us." And like, "Now we want to work with you guys." And then the next day, LLC was made, and we were kicking off
Wow.
a couple days after that. So lucky break, good timing,
That's
good
wild.
camaraderie.
How long ago was that?
3.5, a little under 3.5 years ago.
What's it like doing your own thing now, like having your own business and tracking all of that stuff?
Less stressful in some ways, but more stressful in others. I guess I feel like I feel like the same amount of pressure, but for very different reasons and with bigger consequences. I feel better about the team that I have now, being able to pick and choose and play that GM role
Yeah.
and bring people in that I know and trust and know exactly what I'm going to be getting out of them. That's made a huge difference. So it's made that a lot better. But there's been a lot of struggles with that as well too.
Yeah.
Trying to build that right team is tough.
How many people are on the team?
Right now we've dropped it down to just 4 of us, including the 2 of us,
Yeah.
the 2 partners. But we have an intern, part-time intern up in Montana. But yeah, we had 6 full-time in-house, and now we just dropped to 4.
Wow. And what is your role in all of that? As a client comes in and they need help, what do each member of the team do to help?
That one's tough because it's kind of a open studio type concept, and it's realistically just people filling in their roles and figuring out themselves, positionless basketball type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, it depends on the team. It depends on the day. It depends on the project.
So does everybody wear just multiple hats? And so it's just
Yes.
where they need to fill in, they do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try not to have any like brand new drafter type help. That's just not who we are as a brand.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit us and what people expect out of the work that the 2 of us kind of have established in the last 3 or 4 years or so.
Yeah. Is it still drafting by hand? Is it all in CAD? Like what are you doing?
It's all CAD based. Everything's 3D modeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just build it. It's pretty much Sims is what I tell people.
Yeah.
Playing Sims, and the consequences aren't my sim will die. It's just a building might fall over. Yeah.
Is there a type of structure that you enjoy designing more than others? It sounds like apartment complex are kind of what you guys do a lot of.
Yeah, we do a lot of apartments and townhomes, but we do a lot of restaurants, and we'll mix in some single family homes. So, like for Brad, and we did some really cool homes that are directly in front of my home. And the house that I live in, we did a remodel on
Yeah.
without even planning for us to live in it. But my favorite projects are those that it's fun to like bring someone's dream to life physically and create that and help kind of polish that. But it's all the best part of that is when they're involved in that design, when it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like they're building, because a lot of times we take that art thing to heart and it's like, well, this is my design, but it's their dream. They want it to be pink. I'll tell them my professional recommendation that's probably not great, but let's make it look as good as a pink building can if we have to, right? How do you envision this?
So you're getting all the way down to colors?
I don't like to, but yeah, we can, yeah.
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 So I have this dream of building and designing my own home one day.
Exciting.
And so I can come to you and be like, can you help me with this design?
Yeah.
Here's why. I want a building that has like hidden doors, secret tunnels, all of that stuff. Is that something that you could help with?
Oh, yeah.
Like tunnels running behind the walls that are connecting to other rooms.
Oh, yeah. Downtown Salt Lake style. Let's do it.
Yes. Perfect.
I'd be very in.
Dude, I'm so glad. That makes me actually really happy because I tell Kate, my wife's dad is a contractor.
Okay.
And so every once in a while I'll come with this idea.
Us too.
I'll come with this idea of like,
work together.
I want to build this. He's like, yeah, you can't put that there. Like, you can't do that.
Oh yeah.
It's going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. With your business too, like what is your favorite thing to do in your line of work?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Like if you could have your whole day is just spent doing this and not doing something else you could name.
That's tough. I like the diversity in what I do. I have a hard time focusing on one thing for very long, but I think those feasibility studies at the beginning of a project, because a lot of times they turn into projects that we don't end up doing, but you see that building that we designed in 1 week pop up, or at least really similar to it. So just seeing those pop up, there's a couple downtown that are really out of my wheelhouse still to this day that we definitely had the original design on, the schematic design. So it's fun to see that and see things transform. And yeah.
How do you how do you get paid? Like, how does that work? Is that an hourly thing where like you have a project and you're going to charge it per hour? Is it a per project? How does that all work?
There's so many different ways to go at it. Some firms will go by square footage. Some will go per door, like per unit if you're doing apartments or something like that. And then another way to approach it would be just a percentage based off of what the estimated construction cost will be.
Okay.
We'll kind of go with a combo of those and try to find a good medium ground. But because we have lower overhead and we can get stuff done with half to a third of the amount of employees that most firms are still going with, because they're still working off a system that had hand drafting.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier for us we can cut prices and still feel like we're doing really well, especially for people that, like, when their heart's in it and they get something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
It's really hard to turn work down because of the cost.
Is it like a contractor? Is it a bid that goes out? So you're bidding against other firms?
Yeah. A lot of times it is, but then you kind of establish a relationship with a lot of returning clients, and they'll just typically start with us, and we'll still encourage them to go out and check our numbers that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're staying honest, helps us see what the rest of the market's doing, because we also want to help drive the market up too, because it's been something that's been really low here, especially here in Utah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you would have the client that you're working with. So you're communicating with, designing for. You're going to have the potentially contractor and engineer coming in as well that are giving their input into that.
Yeah.
So are there a lot of edits that are happening on a lot of projects?
Yeah, it's always like a moving target type thing.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is on most projects, the engineers will be contracted through us. So our proposal for the project will have civil engineering, structural engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical, plumbing, or whatever that project needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically we'll be the ones paying them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
And then we'll work with the general contractor. It's nice when we have them in early in the design phase, but typically they're coming in after, or when the municipalities are getting permitting and all that. And that's when they especially hate us, because they have no idea what's coming and the mistakes that we probably made.
Oh, that's awesome. And you fairly recently moved into a new building, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because it's a historic building. It's got some history behind it.
Yeah.
So what's that story?
1930s theater on Old Midvale Main Street. We went in there with a client, actually. He's not terribly excited about it, but they wanted to turn it into a bakery, and it felt weird turning in this really cool old piece of history, almost 100 years old, into a bakery. And we kind of walked out, and we've been thinking about buying our own place and getting our own shop, because we were just leasing until that point. And we're about to buy a theater. It's the first thing we said when we walked out, and reached out to Brad. He made the whole thing happen.
Wow.
Yeah, that, and bought a house through Brad within like a week.
Wow.
Each other. It was a wild time. Super broke. So right now, it's great.
Is it still, did you keep it a theater, and then your office is?
So there's a third level office that our architecture firm runs out of.
Okay.
And then we also started this little theater group. We've been doing like little local shows, little concerts here and there. Like community theater groups have been coming through, but starting to look at ramping up the concert side of things.
Nice.
Doing some little movie deals here and there. Like, it's across the street from Vincent Drug. So
oh, nice.
Working on some Sandlot type stuff with the city, doing things there.
That's sweet. Is it a theater, like a movie theater, or like a stage theater?
It has both.
Both?
Yeah.
Right.
It was a multi-purpose venue. Yeah, they've used it for so many different things. It's been a comedy club. It's been a dance hall, all this great stuff. Apparently it's haunted.
All right.
Some articles about us being haunted. I like that.
Have you seen any or experienced any supernatural?
I'm ready for it, though. I'm geared up. A big horror movie fan.
Nice.
That's one of the reasons I'm excited about the theater. I want to start a horror movie club.
Dude, and you got to do some. Are you going to do some improv? Like, you got an improv game on you?
Nah,
no.
It's stage right for sure. Even this makes me nervous. I could never perform on stage. No way.
Dude, you're awesome. Everyone loves you.
Thanks.
How would you handle a supernatural interaction?
I have no idea. I think I would just panic.
Yeah.
Or just freeze up and just see how long I could ride that bad boy out. But yeah, I'd love that kind of stuff in movie format, but
yeah,
I don't think I'd respond well. I'm soft.
Oh man. I mean, like, I think it's easier for me to be like, oh, I'd be tough or whatever, but then it happens. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'd probably just run away and
100%.
cry.
That's what I'm learning. The older I get, is I'm not as hard as I thought I was. I'm a little 5'8" man. What am I gonna do?
Dude, I want to stop in and see the place though. It sounds like Brad says it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good
super rad,
time.
and then I want to
Yeah, maybe
check
get some
that
like
out.
NBA finals out there and stuff. Any man
Dude,
games type stuff we want, like awards type stuff. We'd be
yeah,
very in.
dude, that'd
Come
be
on
awesome.
by.
Can we like cater meals there?
Yeah, yeah. We brought in our friend who runs events at Top Golf, so he's kind of running the ops side of that and getting things set up for us there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sweet. I know that before the man games, we try to do like a lunch the week
yeah.
before. So I don't know. We could throw it
Yeah,
there, bring it in there.
very down.
Oh, that's awesome. Anything else we need to know about your work, like about what you do, what your company can do, who you can help?
Oh, it's kind of a weird market right now. Or it's,
Has
some
it
people are
slowed down a
shy.
lot? Has it shrunk because of the fact that rates are changing?
Those with experience have not slowed down at all.
Hmm.
But a lot of people who are new are coming into the game, and I think they're a little hesitant right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anything anyone wants to know about their plot of land or a potential one that they might want to purchase, any setbacks that could be in the way, we're always down for that, no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Bigger the better, realistically. I mean, for everyone's sake, but yeah, we're open to anything.
What does that timeline look like? Like, I know it depends based off of what engineers are saying and everybody else, but if it's like, hey, I come to you with my idea, I want to build this. What does that timeline look like for you to kind of turn around? If let's say it's a single family home, to turn something around, present it, and then we're going to have to go back and forth.
Depends on how easy the city is to work with, but to get the plans put together for a single family home, 6 weeks to 8 weeks realistically.
Yeah.
Yeah, for it to be really polished. I know our end we would be done faster than that, which probably kind of has to happen naturally through that process to bring in the engineers and make sure everything can actually work.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Are there like templates that you can work off of to kind of like, okay, they want rooms? I guess CAD could help with that if like it's 12 by 12. So
right. I mean, we've kind of built templates like that, and we'll base stuff up of what we've done. And one of my favorite things to do is just kind of see what everyone else is doing in the market.
Yeah.
Most plans are just public information, so I just love downloading those bad boys and kind of seeing what everyone else is doing, what's working, what's not, making those conversations, making phone calls here and there. Yeah, it's a pretty tight knit community that way. Or it's either everyone loves you or hates you type thing. So yeah.
Is it a collaborative community? Like
yeah, it can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they hate you. One or the other. Yeah. Just our little strip of street on Main Street there's 3 architects. We're next door to another one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you have
Like
templates for like hidden rooms and?
Oh yeah, that's no problem. That's especially at a single family house. We can make that happen.
Is it
That's a
just
dream
wider
for me.
walls? Like what would go into that? Like you and I are going to design a house with secret chambers.
Mostly just really good secret door type things. Jake Halpin has done
Yeah.
a really cool hidden door type thing in a carport and a really cool mid-century modern house that he worked on a few years ago. Ron Mullen house.
Ooh. All right. I'm going to continue this conversation when I'm going to build my house. Like we're going to be best friends for a few weeks.
We're all about that type of stuff. Our first big apartment we did, it's called Hive Apartments, is why we went with the name Hive Design Group. Me and my partner were both we both had brothers that were really close to, and we always wanted to connect our houses with bridges as kids, you know.
Nice.
So, and it was these 2 C-shaped apartments, and they're like, "Oh, I really wish we could connect these." And we just said, like, "What if you just put bridges between them?" And like, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, that's why we said it. No, it's a childish dream, but yep, now they're up, and it's kind of cool to see that. It's some childhood stuff.
That's so cool.
Keep it fun that way.
That's super fun, man. So our story, as I was thinking through this, I was like, I want to start a hashtag that's hashtag met at man games, but we actually met. It sounds like a dating thing, but it's not.
Exciting. That's a reality show I'd be on.
Yes. Hashtag met at man games. But we actually met just before that. We went golfing, you and your brother, with Brad and I, in an early morning Mountain Dale run.
Yeah.
Where does golf fit into your sports repertoire of sports you enjoy?
That's tough. In the last few years, it's been something that I played a lot more just because it's one of the few I can physically play. But growing up, I started at the age of like 7, and then it died off in high school. I didn't play in high school at all. Just a couple times a year is it, but it took a huge break pretty much until moving back to Salt Lake in 2015 or 16.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the last few years, but it's a fun challenge because it's like you've said before, it's one you'll never master. It's just not possible at all. That challenge is really fun, and it's one where some physical limitations might not hurt you as bad as another sport would. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What is it about? So Man Games is obviously kind of a collection of a bunch of different sports. Some people don't like that. Some people are like, I am good at this and I don't want it. Like me and skiing, right? Like I have no desire to.
Yeah, that's why we're never going to have a winter sport in Man Games.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Well, that gets really expensive too.
We'd all die. We'd all break ourselves.
Yeah, no
Lots
kidding.
of injuries coming.
But what is it about? Like you're coming back to Man Games, so that's a positive in my book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is it about it that brings you back?
That's a tough one. There's multiple things. I like the idea of that challenge and challenging myself physically. This last one, my back was just destroyed. I haven't really announced it to anyone. I ended up having back surgery in November.
Jeez.
But
is it feeling better? Is it successful?
Oh yeah, 100. Not 100%, but it's on the way.
Yeah.
I've been playing basketball again, all that fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, the last time I saw you was before I had surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, they repaired 2 discs. And there's still one that's split in half. But
yikes.
They said they'll deal with that when it causes a problem. So Man Games for me this last time around was it meant something more like on the camaraderie end of things, because before I'd hurt my back, I'd been in like the best shape I'd been in my adult life.
Yeah.
And just running a ton, golfing a ton, hiking a ton, trail running a ton. And I'd done a really good job in my relationship, in my marriage, working to be able to have time with the homies, just playing sports, playing in the basketball league, playing on Saturdays with the homies in the morning. And then that just was gone in July. So like right when I met you, it was like when I started getting bad.
What caused your injury?
I think it was a long-term thing.
Yeah.
I thought I had injuries in my right leg since I was like 17 years old. And apparently that was my back.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, from July through November, I didn't feel my whole right foot.
Jeez.
It was wild. It was really a wild ride. There was a golf clip that you put up for the highlight thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like just fully leaning to one side because I just couldn't support myself, and I didn't even realize it was that bad. But like Man Games, I had to rest to be able to participate. So and everyone on our team made it a lot better. Like I was the reason we took last place, like hands down.
No.
Oh yes, I was.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't contribute in any of the sports, and they still didn't care. It was really cool. Taylor Dance loves himself some winning. He loves the idea of competing, and he put that aside to just make me feel included and feel involved, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting too, because your team kind of came with, you knew Brad.
That was it.
Yeah, you didn't know Wayne. Taylor knew Wayne. He didn't know Brad.
Yep.
Wayne knew Brad. So it was just kind of this
it was a hodgepodge team, but fun group.
Yeah,
really fun group.
I couldn't even tell. Basketball, I could tell that you weren't feeling well.
That's where, that hurt the worst. Yeah.
But in the other sports, it's amazing that you were able to pull all that off with what was going on with your back.
Thank you.
That's
pulled
intense.
off a nice last place.
Thank
you.
No.
I appreciate it.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. That's wild. So yeah, so you're nervous for swimming? What, the upcoming games? Which event makes you nervous?
Swimming for sure.
Swimming?
But mostly because it's like, I think it's the sport I respect the most. The form of cardio I respect the most.
Yeah.
It's just so damn hard.
Yeah. Have you ever been swimming?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a cool sport. It's a tough one. I've never been great at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Polynesian side didn't kick in there. Yeah, more into the boats, or canoe people.
I don't know if you saw, but I've recently gotten into swimming.
I did. That was fun to follow.
Yeah. And so I didn't post this, but my family went to Dimple Dell and there were these laps. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go as fast as I can. Because usually I'm just going for distance. I'm just trying to go for a long time. Like I'm going to go down and back as fast as I can. And so there's a clock going. It's like, all right, counting down and just take off. I'm really bad at flip turns. I can do a flip turn, but I'm bad at it. And then I come back. So it was like 47 seconds. So I'm like, okay, like it felt like I was moving okay. And granted, I didn't dive in, so that's not going to be the same. It's just pushing off of a wall. And so I look it up and like the world record's like 20 seconds.
It's not okay.
So that person is like on their way back, more than halfway back, before I even made it like halfway through the pool.
It's, it's not right.
It's unbelievable.
It's so impressive to me. I feel like, the more my body's broken down, the more I've just appreciated every sport in general.
Yeah.
I feel like I can watch most any sport. I don't care what it is, because anyone that can master that craft
Yeah.
and play anywhere beyond the age of 27, I'm just going to be stoked on you. Very impressed by you.
I love it as an exercise too because I'm never hurt.
Right.
Like even probably about a month and a half ago, I was like, I'm going to start doing push-ups more again. And you're sore afterwards.
Yeah.
Like you're just sore. But with swimming, I've never been sore. I've always been exhausted. Like just, I want to go sleep or I want to go eat a lot. But I've never been sore.
Right. I know swimming is the form of cardio and conditioning that my body is forcing me towards.
Yeah.
Because running, it's just gone pretty much. Doctors, no, you're done with that. Awesome. That was my favorite. Cool. So yeah, biking doesn't feel great on the back.
Yeah.
I know swimming is going to be it.
Dude, we'll go anytime you want. We'll go swimming.
Only if you bring your floaties. I want to see you in those floaties.
The pool I go to has it all for you there, man.
Noodles, everything.
It's unbelievable. It's great. All right, let's get a few more weird ones out of the way. This one isn't too weird. Well, I actually had a math question because you brought up math. So USB-A ports. What is the probability of me getting that correct? Inserting it in the correct direction.
It's not possible the first time. It's always... I have no idea.
It should be 50-50, right?
But it's not. There's no
and
way.
I never get it right.
Well, it's like putting a set of headphones in your pocket back when we were using wires. There's a 100% chance of coming out tangled.
Yes.
Yeah. 100% chance I'm losing a sock when I do laundry. It's just,
So frustrating.
odds aren't in our favor.
I was charging some of the lights that are on here, and they have USB-A
How many did you get right?
0. And I even
Every single
looked.
one.
I looked, got it wrong, and then I had to
Impossible. Big USB-C fan.
It's crazy.
Huge fan of the USB-C.
It is crazy.
Meant for people like us.
What type of food represents your personality?
Ooh. I'm a wild card. I don't know. Today. Let's go with just today. Who asked that question?
That was JD.
Oh, man.
His are the weird ones.
I don't know why I asked. What food represents me? Today I'm feeling like Polynesian food. I'm feeling like some Japanese-inspired Polynesian food. Maybe some katsu.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of plain Jane.
Dude, that's groovy. I don't know what you're talking about. Center, corner, or side piece for brownies?
Ooh, that's tough. The whole pan.
All of
Center,
it.
corners. It can't be center. It's got to be a side piece.
Side piece.
Yeah.
Little crunch on the end, and then
Little
soft in the middle. All right.
The only time side pieces are okay in my life.
Would you rather be Would you rather be relatively famous for writing a song, or super famous for something embarrassing, and you make more money from the embarrassing one?
Relatively famous is what I'd go for, I think.
Yeah.
I choose no fame.
Yeah.
I get such anxiety with
Yeah,
eyes
like
on
the
me. Like I
limelight.
said, I can't stand it. I just, even like walking by the stage at the theater,
Yeah.
if anyone even asks me a question, I'm out.
Why do you think that is? What is it that makes you anxious?
It could be from multiple traumas in my life, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just never felt comfortable on stage, which maybe I need to just overcome that
Yeah.
instead of just let that fear grow. Listening to Kobe interview about that just recently, about not just avoiding fears and actually facing them, accepting that you're scared of something. And
Yeah.
but
I've listened to
Catch me on
stuff like
stage
that
soon.
sometimes,
yeah,
and I'm like, like I'm afraid of heights. So I'm like,
same.
dude, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to go bungee jumping.
No.
Nope.
That's different.
I'm not
That's
gonna go.
logic. That's very different.
But like dance. So my wife danced,
Okay.
and I would never dance in front of people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have that same anxiety. If it's like, Eric, come out and dance, I'm like, nope. Like,
Silver
that's-
Linings Playbook it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
I can see you as Bradley Cooper.
And then
in it.
singing's another one where it's just
Yeah.
like, if I'm just going to sing in front of a group,
Right.
not happening.
Even if I had the capability of becoming a good singer, I'm still not doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Like,
not capable. I'm a bad singer.
I think everyone feels that they're a bad singer. It's like your picture. Everyone hates their picture. Everyone hates their voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I believe in you. I think you could sing. Do you
Catch
want to
me on
overcome that
stage.
fear right now?
right now. In any song.
Belting it out. All right. Okay. What were your last 4 things you have Google searched?
Do I have to look that up?
If you
Pull
want.
that up? This is
If
exciting.
you want, I'll do it too.
Okay. This is
delete
more
my
JD.
browser. Quickly delete my browser history.
Ogden power outage is one of them.
All right. I got Bulbasaur.
Ooh, that's exciting. What
My
was
son is
that
super
for?
into Pokemon.
Okay.
So I was into it when I was little,
Uh huh.
and there's the evolutions. And so I was like, okay, I know Charmander, and I'm probably going to pronounce them, but Charmeleon, and then Charizard.
Yeah, we're the classic OG hunted.
Yeah.
Beyond that's confusing to me.
But then it was like Squirtle, and I couldn't
Mhm.
remember what Squirtle's evolution was. And then there was Bulbasaur.
Blasto.
Blastoise is the final
What
one.
was-
I think it's War Turtle.
Oh, it's
Something
a
like
good name. It's a good name.
that.
What else
So
we got?
Bulbasaur is on mine.
All right, chimichurri.
Chimichurri. What's
Yeah.
that? I don't even know what
It's
that is.
a Argentinian sauce of
Oh.
sorts to put on tri-tip.
All right.
Yeah, that was there.
I got Tech Ball. Somebody told me to look up what Tech Ball was. So it's like looks like a ping pong table that's a little bit warped,
Interesting.
and they play with soccer balls. So
Okay, I've seen that.
yeah,
Wait, the talent on those people.
yeah. Soccer's not my
No,
it's not my gig.
no. I'm glad you didn't put anything soccer related back into this.
Yes.
All right, swimming was enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Silence is the residue of fear. Is the thing I have in there.
All right.
Yeah, one of my favorite civil rights activists and poets.
All right.
Yeah, one of his things.
Nice. I've got Jakubani, Czechoslovakia.
Oh,
So
okay.
the gal that I interviewed, 105-year-old woman, her dad was from that city. So I was trying to
back when it was
find it.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, so it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
They've changed the name of the city,
Right.
so I wasn't able to find it on Google Maps.
Oh.
Actually, what comes up, one of the earlier Google searches is her dad's obituary. Like that's what Google pulls up with that name because it's not anywhere else.
When did he pass?
Good question. I want to say, well, I can,
When was the wheel invented?
let me see. He was born in 1886.
Sheesh.
It's like not a super searchable page. I'll find it for you.
Okay, I'm in.
It's on the
I'm
video.
gonna find my. Did I do 4 or 3?
That was 3.
All right. Commercial trash cans.
Commercial trash cans. Like the big ones that they like have the forks that go in.
We can't really decide which route we're gonna go. We need new ones for the theater.
All right.
We're going something a little older, a little 1920s, or are we just going budget friendly here?
The last one is Premier Spike. So Utah Round Net
Mhm.
here in Utah.
Shout out RoundNet for hooking us up with the rules.
Taylor Sanford, fantastic person. He has, I don't know if invented is the right word or designed a round net called Premier Spike. It's a different form of the net
Okay.
that has some advantages over it. So the nets that we played on, they move around a lot.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
nets are a lot better at staying where they're supposed to be. It's got a thicker rim so that it's not warped when you put the net on. And it's got like
See.
ball
A
holders.
little more heavy duty.
Yeah. So that was
Alright.
that was the other one I
Shout
got.
out whoever
Taylor Sanford, Premier
manufactured
Spike.
that one for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's good stuff. All right. JD, you're keeping things interesting for us. Oh, this one's good. What are the funniest 3 items you could put on a conveyor belt at the grocery store to make the cashier wonder what is going on?
Okay. I'm gonna start with a story.
I feel like I could see it in your eyes. Like you've got some experience here.
Yeah. I was telling you before we started recording about my grandma, 96 years old,
Yeah.
close to passing away. But I spent a lot of time with her in my teenage years.
Mhm.
I was her gardener. We just mostly watched summer league basketball and tennis.
Nice.
She didn't know the rules to either, so but she loved it. But one time we were at the store. She's very big on Rite Aid in the day, and my cousin snuck a box of condoms into the cart. There's this candy and this box of condoms, and we were like 14 and 16 probably. And my grandma's checking out at the pharmacy. That's how old she is at this time, and she's just, "Are you sure you don't want these? Do you not want these?" Yeah, not realizing what the candy was, bright box. So that's always a funny one you can put on there. Apparently. Yeah,
awesome.
I could never do that again to her.
Oh man,
This 14-year-old, it wasn't me.
that's hilarious.
Yeah. What else could you put in there?
So let's say you have a box of condoms. What's the next item that they would be like, what?
It's just all candy.
Condoms
Candy
and
and condoms with this old lady and these 2 kids who definitely don't look like hers. Yeah. What else could I put in there? I have no idea. JD. I don't know. I'm such like a planned shopper
Yeah.
that I don't look around at anything else that's there. I feel like could be some good medical supplies in there.
Yeah. Maybe some feminine hygiene
Oh yeah,
product.
yeah.
going on
So
there.
it depends.
Yeah. Ooh.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
hair straightener,
I would be
something
confused.
like that. Yeah,
I would be confused.
I'm glad. What a weird question.
There's a few more, and then I want to get into a deep one. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant, do you think?
Ooh. That's
One guess as to who this was.
I'm not even saying it. I'm giving him that. Oh, it's gotta be a few hundred. It's an elephant. I don't know how you could pull it off. Chickens aren't bright.
It's got to be a weight thing. Like my mind goes to like it's got to be like 1 million chickens.
Right? How much? What if they're aggressive chickens? I mean, are roosters coming to play? These just the chicken in general.
I don't know. He
Talking about
said chicken. Like, are they really going to like form a beachhead and like go up to where they can get to the
I don't know if there are
eyes?
enough chickens that are smart enough to pull it off. None chickens is my answer.
Chicken seems
None
so
chickens.
dumb, but they taste good. What would be the absolute? Oh, this is applicable, I think, based off of some rumors that I've heard. What would be the absolute worst name you could give your child?
Frederick Wunderli the Fourth.
Yeah. Is that the name of
Yeah,
your
that's the name of my first child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a boy named Sue type thing, you know.
Yeah.
And mostly, I'm just mad I got skipped in the line of Freds.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father's Fred the Third. I'm his oldest.
And they skipped it over.
Skipped it. He was sick of getting wheelchair things and AARP things from his father in the mail. And he didn't want to do that to me, but I would like to do that to my son. You know?
So it was a kind gesture, but in
he
reality,
says,
it backfired on him.
Yeah, but Fred the Fourth could be one of the worst ones, and I'm rolling with it.
Nice. And so you are expecting a boy?
Yeah,
Dude, congrats. When's the due date?
March 17th.
That's coming up.
Yeah,
That's coming
37
fast.
weeks on Friday, so it's anytime, go time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Your first?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
the beginning of the end.
Dude.
Unless you hear this, Meredith.
No. One is amazing. The hard part with one is that you're convinced that you're going to kill your child because they are the like most precious little thing.
I'm sure.
By the time you get to 2, 3, whatever, you're like, oh, they can survive
Yeah, just
anything.
build immunities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the first one is just like,
the most precious thing
yeah,
ever.
I need to get the best
How
crib.
do I
need to
overcome
get,
this?
I don't know that you do. I think like you have to go through
It's a
that.
biological thing.
Yeah, and you seem like you're in a spot where we got married really early, and so we had kids really early and
Right.
young, and we were not financially there.
Yeah.
So we're just like a lot of help from family and friends and secondhand stuff. But I could see you guys like going all out with like you're gonna get the best stroller that's ergonomic and probably has a jet engine in it, so you can like ride it, and then you're probably gonna get like I don't know, like
No, I can't be that guy. Brad just got. He had his second kid and an immediate vasectomy, and then they dropped off all their boys' clothes at the house. So,
nice.
a lot of people doing a lot of good things for us right now.
Dude, we got boys' clothes if you need them.
We might be boys closed out, honestly. That sounds
Okay.
wild. The amount of boys clothes that just keep showing up at our house. But we might
If you
chat
need
about
boys'
this
clothes,
afterwards.
because all of our family members have had girls. Like it's a very girl-heavy
Really? Yeah.
thing. So we've been able to get rid of the girls' clothes, but we haven't been able to get rid of the boys' clothes.
Interesting.
So if you need them,
All right, we'll be chatting.
if you need more,
Apparently, you can never have too many of any baby things.
can never. I mean, they have to have new outfits every day for the 3 weeks that they fit in them.
It's a problem. It's going to be a problem like shoes for me. Because now I have someone else to buy shoes for.
Okay,
How
this
do I overcome that?
is a problem. I think
Absolutely.
baby shoes are the cute baby boy
Incredible.
shoes, and I'm not trying to be sexist here, but baby boy shoes are unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like I just want to collect them.
Yeah. I stopped buying shoes for myself, which is probably a good thing. Baby
Yeah.
shoes are more affordable. They won't be used very often because they're babies and they grow too fast. But yeah, we're going to be twins all the time.
That's why,
Really?
because
How do
you
you
could
not?
buy like Jordans for
Yeah.
your baby, and then you could buy the same Jordans,
Exactly.
and you're
Yeah.
matching.
It's happened already.
Yes,
It's a problem. Yeah. Like you won't catch me matching with my family at Disneyland in a t-shirt ever.
right.
You'll catch me with Fred 4
Yes,
matching sneakers.
Fred 4's got a nice ring to it.
Thank you.
And like with the girls' shoes, they're cute as can be, but it's like I'm not going to be wearing light up,
Right.
bejeweled things, and my wife isn't going to be wearing those
Unless they bring back LA gears.
unless they bring that back. Then I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
So far, they haven't though.
I'll stay ready.
I'm so excited for you. That's going to be awesome.
Thank you. I'm really
It's
excited.
life-changing.
So I hear.
It's in a good way.
Very nervous, but very excited.
Yes. And your life becomes less of your own, but it's a good thing.
It's probably for the better.
Yeah.
I've had it to myself. It hasn't been the greatest thing always. Yeah.
Here's the weird thing that it did for me. It completely changed my relationship with my parents.
I've noticed
Yeah.
that feeling a lot lately, just thinking about my relationship, especially with my father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's changed it for you? What's been the shift?
I think just focusing on certain values and recognizing things that he did that I definitely took for granted and didn't recognize were just really cool things for a parent to do and just be present the way he was. And yeah.
I'm so pumped. The weird thing that I noticed too with my first one, and there's people who've talked about this and it's in books and all this stuff, but as soon as she was born, there's just like this little tiny human being. And that's when you meet them. Like you first meet your baby. I mean, there's the ultrasounds and stuff, but
we've been listening to bangers lately since soon. I know he's listening now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different now. But they're in person, I'm sure.
But you meet them and you're like, I am willing to die for this.
Yeah.
Like having never met it, I will do anything for you.
Yeah.
From now until I die, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like this surreal, weird feeling. Because I have that for my spouse, right? But it's like an adult thing.
Right.
You went through dating, you kind of got to know them and you fell in love with this person. But with a baby, it's just like, boom,
A
it's
next
there.
level, truly unconditional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild, man.
Yeah.
Super
Excited.
pumped for you.
Excited
Super
for that
pumped.
perspective.
Okay, let's go. We've got some deep ones here. I'm just trying to figure out which order would be the best. So let's go with this one first, because I think we were kind of on that vein. What would you tell your 20-year-old self if you could go back in time?
Ooh. Oh, that's tough.
You're 27?
I wish I was 27.
How old are you?
32.
32.
Yeah, Brad and I are the same age.
Just got that youthful look to you still.
Thank you.
32. Okay, so you're going back 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. My 20-year-old self
What were you doing at 20?
serving the Lord in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice.
What would I tell that person? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the failures that I've had. So that's a tough one. I like the hard things I went through to get to where I'm at. But my grandma used to always say, "Don't take any wooden nickels. Don't get hustled."
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's times I've been taken advantage of in certain ways by just being kind of naive and not seeing the person that was just actually presenting themselves in front of me, or being too trusting, I guess.
Yeah.
Which could be a negative thing, but that's probably what I tell myself.
All right.
Don't take it with nickels.
I like it.
Don't get hustled.
I like it. This one came through, and this is what I kind of want to piggyback off of, and I think this might take us a few different places. But this says, not a question, but I just enjoyed being around Peyton. Couldn't help but smile with him. Thoughts around happy people. Couldn't help but smile around him. Oh, okay. Couldn't help but smile around him. So you seem like a super positive, happy dude. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think so. I think the way I carry myself is that way, but I view things really pessimistic, really logical.
Yeah.
Which I think that engineering transitioning into architecture was why it works. Because I try to be realistic with situations, which can also has held me back in certain aspects of just dream when it comes to setting goals and dreaming and going above someone else's expectations for me and just basing it off my expectations. But I try to be positive, and especially when it comes to others, I try to.
Yeah.
I haven't always been that way, and I guess I was an absolute bully as a kid. I was not very nice. But as I've gotten older, I realize like I like shoes, right? Like we talked about that a couple times. But everyone has a pair of shoes and can rock a pair of shoes in a way cooler than me. Like everyone has something cool to them. Everyone's wearing something that is cool. Like and I never would have thought to rock or to wear. So I try to. I've really focused in my adult life on treating others just for who they are as a raw person, because there's a lot of like my group of friends is the Island of Misfit Toys, kind of what I refer to it as.
Mm.
It's a hodgepodge of people, different backgrounds that don't seem like they would fit in
Yeah.
or don't fit in anywhere, and just trying to create that space for people. Because I like man games, for example. Like I really enjoyed being around that because it was a time that I was really struggling, trying to figure out like, okay, I have these limitations now,
Yeah.
but I want to. This is where I want to be. I want to be competing, and I want to push myself as hard as I can, and to be around that, and for no one to really be judging about how poorly, at least I thought I was doing.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier to be positive. I think being positivity definitely cultivates positivity.
Yeah. Well, and here's and you kind of illuminated what I was thinking is the people in my life, and we don't know each other super well. Obviously,
Right. Yeah.
we've met a handful of times and we play pickleball and all this stuff. But the people in my life that give off that positive vibe, especially to others, right? Like I don't think there's anybody that is in your presence that's like, man, Peyton was rude to me. It seems like you're very, very kind. You have very warm, just immediately when you meet you, when we meet you. And there are a number of people through Man Games that have said, that was Weston, by the way.
Shout out Weston. Good old time.
And it seems like the people in my life that have that, number one, they're typically self-deprecating, which we see here.
Yeah, yeah.
They're hardest on themselves. And it seems like treating people in such a good way that you do is coming from something in the past. And I don't know if it's a coping mechanism. I don't know what it is, but it's almost like there was some sort of a trauma, and you brought trauma up a little bit earlier of there is some sort of a trauma, and they're going to, people can go two ways with that. One is they can blame the trauma and they can spiral off into a downwards motion. But in a lot of the people that I've interacted with, it's the opposite. And what I see in you is like, it's just this overly kind to others. So am I wrong?
No. I think the reason, like I said, I was kind of a bully growing up.
Yeah.
And I think that was just a response to me getting bullied, I guess, in some ways, or me not feeling like I fit in. And being able to recognize that was hard for me. And once I took the time to break that down, and like, okay, why am I being such an a-hole?
Mm-hmm.
How can I just not? Why am I even doing this? And yeah, looking at that real hard had a lot to do with it. Plus, the situation's just better. It's safer. There's a lot of situations. I lived in Cedar City for 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of weird, sketchy situations where it's like if I had approached it like an absolute jerk, I wasn't leaving that situation very healthy or safe.
Yeah.
Just because different times down there. But because I approached them and was nice to them and found common ground, it just knocked those barriers down, which is something I've really enjoyed. And yeah, keeping people close, and I really enjoy the people that are close to me in my life, and I'd like to support the things that they do.
Yeah. And you've brought up, so your brother, your grandma, seems like your family is a pretty tight-knit group. Tell me about your family.
My family, wild hodgepodge family. I was born in Hawaii. I was adopted through LDS Family Services. A little over a year later, my brother born in Atlanta, adopted through LDS Family Services. Pasty white parents, LDS. Best parents ever, though, especially for
How old
us.
were you when you were adopted?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hot commodity, 1990, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Most popular I've ever been, probably. But,
No,
yeah. But, yeah. And for me and my brother were so close, I think because we had someone to go through that stuff with.
Yeah.
Just like any siblings, I guess, would. And we're only 16 months apart, so it made it a lot easier. But yeah, really tight-knit family. Really quiet, though. We don't talk a ton. We can go weeks without talking to each other, but or we can just be in the same room, just spending time together and not really communicating a ton verbally. But yeah, it's like being around them.
That's super
value
cool.
Family.
Still around? Still here in Utah?
Yeah. My parents live like a few blocks away from me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My brother's in Eagle Mountain, but looking to head back up this way.
Yeah.
Come back to civilization.
Nice. That's sweet. One of the questions too, and this is kind of interesting because it adds a few layers to this. One of the questions was, what was your experience growing up in suburban Utah as a minority?
Ooh, it was tough sometimes. but there's a lot of cool benefits too. Like I said, I really do enjoy breaking down that barrier and having that opportunity, even though there's been times where it's been kind of scary. I do really well in the rural areas.
Hmm.
Uh, my dad's favorite color is camo. We always joke about. Um, but yeah, suburban Utah. It was tough until I had the right group of friends. Dialing that in, I think, is why that's still important to me today, and making sure I have the right team around me.
Hmm.
Because there were a lot of friends that I had that I thought were really close, but then they would come down to it, and then I just kind of left on my own.
Mm.
So like Brad, for example, like me and Brad have been close because from day one because of stuff like that.
Mm.
There are times where I would get into someone and they'd cross the racial line, and then Brad would just see red and go off, and I couldn't do anything, and was handling the rest of the situation. So
Yeah.
to be around people like that I know to this day will actually support me in that, and
Yeah.
you'll find your people, find a place to fit in. But it was tough sometimes. It's Salt Lake. I will say Salt Lake's gotten a lot better.
Hmm.
I'm very proud of how far Salt Lake's come with that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
at least making an effort and acknowledging. Yeah, there are a lot of cool privileges to be the first minority a lot of people are honestly spending time with or having a serious conversation with,
Yeah.
and that first impression is going to go a long way and represent a large group of people. Unfortunately, in a lot of these settings,
Yeah.
yeah, it took me a long time to realize how to take that serious. Yeah, a lot of fistfights though growing up because of it.
Mm.
But yeah, it was really interesting though. I had a good group of friends that made it a lot easier.
That's cool. As somebody who was born and raised in Utah, and I am white, like that's always kind of been a thing for me of
You're clear like Larry Bird.
yeah. There's the national dialogue around race relations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like whatever political party it is where a lot of people kind of stand. And I have my own political thoughts, but my whole thing is like, I don't have the experience, right? Like I can't. And this was kind of mind blowing to me when I went to Kansas City to visit Donnie and his wife. They were living in Kansas City, and his wife was like, there's a line, and they used to zone to where white people could live here and people of color could live here. And she's like, we're coming up on that line, and we're driving through the people of color neighborhood.
Red line.
Yeah, it was a red line.
Mhm.
And so she's like, okay, here it is. You cross over. On one side of the line, it's like South Jordan, Utah. On the other side, it's like broken down. The buildings are just falling
it's literally
apart.
divided by a set of tracks,
Yeah.
right?
And it was just, I'd never experienced
Yeah.
that. Like I've been sheltered for a lot of my life. And so I was like, wow, that was really stunning to me.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like not knowing how I can help. Like, how can I help
Right.
race relations in general?
Yes, yeah. That's a tough one.
Because I can read all the books I want, but
Right.
reading doesn't really.
Proximity is what matters, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's our huge issue here in Utah. Which
Yeah.
for me, I love like Dwayne Wade coming in, like, and that is a huge part of why he came in. He's he's vocal about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How do you help, right? That's the tough one. I think for me, like I said on that Google search, is that silence is the residue of fear, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, Brad, for example, like I'll ride for Brad no matter what because he's willing to say something, even if it might make him look dumb, or if I said something that was stupid. That's a line that he's always going to stand up for, and that's why he'll always be one of my very best friends. I think it's just that. It's just being willing to say something in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're involved in so many different things. You're involved in man games. That's going to attract minorities.
Yeah.
Minorities like sports. How convenient. Yeah, I think you're creating something that's awesome, especially when you're talking about doing it in other cities potentially and looking to do it in different spots and how they can change. And yeah, I think it's just, yeah, it's tough. It's tough when we don't have an ability,
Yeah.
proximity wise, when we're 1% of the state, which is, yeah, it makes it tough.
Well, it's so unfortunate too, because I remember an instance with my kids. It was my first one. So she was probably 3, 4, something like that.
Mhm.
And we go to a playground, and there was an African-American kid there.
Yeah.
And it's the first one she's ever seen.
Right?
And so she comes up to Caitlin and rather loudly says, "Mom, why is he so dirty?"
Right?
And so that's just a kid trying to make sense of
Of the situation.
what's
yeah.
happening, because she's never seen that
Yeah.
before. And so we're like appalled, right? And it's just
Right.
like,
Yeah, as a parent, like, what's your response? Yeah,
right.
that's
It is
tough.
just- But
Yeah.
it's that familiarity for sure, I think is helpful. But I think at the same time, even now, like I'm like, am I going to say something wrong to somebody listening or to you, or
Right.
and vice versa? You see these videos of somebody is pulled over and they're scared to death of cops
Oh yeah.
because even if it's a nice cop and a normal person, there's
Yeah.
this
Oh yeah. Yeah.
apprehension of can we trust another
For
person,
sure. Yeah.
which is kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. The cop thing is always a wild one. I grew up like some of my dad's best friends are cops. Like
Yeah.
the police chief in Midvale is a good family friend, and I see him at planning commission meetings, and city council meetings. But then I went to Cedar City, and I'm getting pulled over all the time for nothing and getting tickets for crazy stuff. And I was horrified all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like getting searched on the side of the highway for just being in the car. Um, yeah, and how do you teach that as a parent? The good thing about kids, though, is it's coming from an innocent place, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just innocent comment. But that's the best opportunity to learn it, right?
Yeah.
Is at that age, and it's instilled. And I think we were raised in a weird transitional phase of we're colorblind. And like
Yeah.
we've all been guilty of saying things are that are closed-minded or cross-line or racist or some sort. Like I'm as guilty as the next person, but I really truly believe that there should be grace in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather someone make the mistake saying something than pulling back and being scared.
Yeah.
Especially when they're willing, like if you're willing to ask, like, was that okay? I don't know. I don't know all the time.
Yeah.
I've said bad things about different people who look different than me, and it's unfortunate that I have, and I regret having said it, but that's an opportunity for me to go one way or the other, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah. I've said this a couple times on the podcast, but it's like we judge ourselves on our intention and we judge others on their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that I think of, like, I feel that I have this intention to just love everybody and to find the common ground.
Mm-hmm.
You've even brought it up too, of like, oh, anybody can look good in shoes. Like we can find something to connect with. And that's one thing that I want to instill in my kids is like, I don't care what somebody looks like, dresses like, talks like. There's something that you can learn from them. There's something that is light within them in some degree.
For sure.
That's a good thing. And that's why I love doing this podcast, is talking to different people, and I can learn.
Yeah.
I learned all about architecture stuff today and a number of other things. And that's a cool thing, I think. So I don't know, man. I just think you're a cool dude, and you give off definitely a vibe of just, I don't know, it's a good vibe. I don't know how else to describe that. Is that something that you consciously work on, or is that just who you are? Or is that?
I think I have to get out of my own way a little bit I think it is part of just who I am naturally, but I've had so many defense mechanisms and things over the years that I've had to work to get out of the way to just feel, because that's how I feel like I'm being my true self, is when I'm making friends, when I'm just chatting it up with anyone or some random person I met and I will never see again, having a conversation with them, that impacts me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it impacts them, but I know that can be a positive interaction for me. Like I said, the man games thing, like that poker table, I've still chatted with quite a few of those people.
Yeah.
That's something that's cool to me because we talked one time.
Yeah. Dude, you were right next to me in poker. You were.
Yeah.
I was having to hide my cards, make sure Peyton doesn't get any tips.
I was getting a little sleepy, so make sure I don't go out first.
It gets started late.
Shout out Bobby, not being able to remember what a hand is. Love you, Bobby.
Take me through this. So Brighter Futures has been a big sponsor of Man Games and Girl Games.
Yeah.
So they're a foster agency. Your history there. Because you were so young, is the adoption process, is that something you became more familiar with, or is that something that because you were so young you didn't really?
Mine's tough because they were closed adoptions, and LA's Family Services isn't doing the adoptions anymore, so it's like I have no real access to any of that. Well, like Ancestry DNA stuff is a little more access, but I'm not as familiar as a lot of, because it's kind of two different experiences, right?
Yeah.
There's me and my brother, where we were so young that had to learn to be around other Black people, even.
Yeah.
To have those same experiences, that's mind-blowing. But then there's those who are older.
Take me through that. I want to.
Yeah, we'll go back.
How did that come about? How did your parents help you with that? What did that look like?
The funny thing was us saying closed-minded things to them, I guess. There's a traumatic thing I have in my head. It messed my mom up more than me, I'm sure, because she brings it up all the time. I told her she was pink like a pig. She's this Norwegian Viking lady, as white as they come. And I think that one really, really cut deep on her. Yeah. And I remember how that affected her. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something's different. And then I recognized what those differences were. And our parents were really cool about taking us to a lot of cultural things. We learned a lot of stuff outside of school that we thought was commonplace, and proximity was a thing that they made sure happened for us. So that was really interesting. And then honestly, like living in Atlanta, like the reason I don't know what I'd tell my 20-year-old self is because having that experience, just going from Utah to the most successful black city in America right now,
Yeah.
and seeing what that's like, and seeing those divides in certain cities throughout the state of Georgia and Alabama. It's, oh, okay, this is a whole different thing, and opportunity is unfortunately stopping a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see and to understand, but it's something that I would never take away experience-wise for me. I needed that.
That's what's so interesting with that experience too, is that, I don't know, there are labels that everybody gets assigned.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that instance, okay, maybe you are more around what would be your race equivalent group of people in certain instances, but
Right.
now you've got the label of an LDS missionary
Right.
to kind of throw that off and cause a rift where maybe there wouldn't have been a rift otherwise.
For sure.
Did that happen?
Plenty of times in so many different directions. Like it made it so, one, we're getting indoors that they weren't getting it before.
Yeah.
But then two, we're not getting let indoors that they were getting let in before. So I don't know. It was really interesting. I loved it too. I was really enjoying that part culturally, and just being in that and being in something different than here. Yeah, because I never thought I'd come back to Salt Lake City. Funny, I moved to rural Cedar City again. Did the opposite, 0% black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, that's quite the experience. That just kind of came to me as we were talking of like, man, you've got to wrestle
Yeah.
so many different things
It was
going on
wild.
there.
Yeah, it was interesting to not judge certain things. I find myself immediately doing it. I'm like, no, that's weird. That's interesting because I felt like a sense of loyalty to everyone.
Yeah.
And not really, didn't feel like I fit in. Like there's a common phrase, it was too black for the white kids and too white for the black.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's got to be hard to deal with, like hard to struggle with.
it was a really big struggle. And yeah, really, really big struggle until like my mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
Just kind of trying to figure out who I am. But luckily I've had a lot of good support, a lot of good people along the way to just accept me for whoever I decided to be, I guess,
Yeah. That's such an interesting way you phrased it, because that was coming to my mind right as you were saying, is like, I try to think of who am I? Who is Eric?
Mhm.
And there's so much you can draw from that. Like,
the intention versus the action. Right?
well, totally. I mean, you can break it down in so many ways. I'm a human being, right? I'm white, or I am tall, or I'm a man, or I have certain religious beliefs, and you kind of like go down into so many different things.
Yeah.
But what does Wunderli's an interesting last name?
Yeah, Swiss last name.
Swiss?
Swiss last name.
So it's probably a V, a Wunderli?
Oh, well, yeah, once upon a time, I think it was a V.
Yeah.
It had been Fred Wunderli's back to the 1500s, I found out on Ancestry. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, about to have the first black one.
All right. Well, does it mean anything?
Little miracle, they say.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
With the closed adoption thing, does that mean that you were not able to know who your birth parents were?
Unless it pulls up on some DNA thing somewhere. So my brother recently just found his biological, his mom's, both his entire biological family, which is wild. So I just met some of his like biological half siblings.
Wow.
So I'm trying to look at it, like, oh, this is wild. You look way more like my brother than I do.
Yeah.
But, yeah. For me, it's tough mostly because my mom was, she was at BYU Hawaii. She's from New Zealand. Her family's all from Samoa. And like the records keeping down there is not so great. And my dad was there from either Virginia or Texas in the Army.
Wow.
At the Air Force. I mean, at the Army base there. A little military baby. But yeah, and she went back to New Zealand like right after school.
Wow. So have you
So I
taken
had
your
no
ancestry
idea.
test?
Yeah, but the Polynesians, there's just a bunch of cousins.
Yeah.
It makes it tough to find. But yeah.
It sounds like it's New Zealand, Samoa. And then where's your dad?
It seems like he's in Virginia.
Yeah.
From what we're seeing, but yeah, kind of tougher to track down.
That's crazy,
It's
man.
expensive is what it would be. The New Zealand one would be like a few $1,000 type thing. So I'd be curious more for health reasons, especially having a kid coming up.
Yeah.
Anytime they're like, "What do you have any previous this?" I got nothing.
Yeah.
No clue. I don't know a ton, but
Dang.
yeah.
That's so interesting. Because again, that question of who am I, a part of that is
Right.
the parents. I mean, a big part of that is
Yeah,
the parents.
100%. I didn't struggle with it very much as a kid. My brother had a hard time with it than I did
Yeah.
as a kid. And then it kind of flipped when we became adults.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, I think I actually am having a harder time with this. Mostly, I think it's mostly because I can't. There's not much I could really do.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating, but it's
When
also
did he
been
find
good.
his?
Like a few months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have conversation with him? Like, was he excited about that? Was he nervous? Was he like, did he have all these questions he wanted to ask?
He's kind of fearless with most anything social, and which is weird because he was such a shy kid and didn't talk ever. But as an adult, he's just really outgoing and willing to speak to anybody. But yeah, he didn't really have any hesitation, at least from what I saw. When we talk about that kind of stuff, because that's the only person we have to talk about that kind of stuff
Yeah.
with. But yeah, I was excited for him.
Yeah.
He seemed excited, not very nervous. But yeah,
And did it all go well? I mean, was
so
it good?
yeah, it went really well. His family's up in Idaho. He's got like 7 half siblings up there.
Wow.
Shout out Brandon. I wonder if they're Russeters themselves.
That's wild,
more of a
man.
Yukon guy myself, but yeah, it's been interesting. His dad's still in Atlanta. I think half siblings there, something like that. Played hoops at UGA.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's fascinating. You may have run into him when you were in Atlanta.
Possibly he may have given it to me on the basketball court on the blacktop. Never played more basketball in my life than out there.
Yeah, that'd be a different basketball than what I'm used to.
Yeah, very much above the rim.
Yeah. I went to Russia, and that's a different kind of basketball in a different way.
Physical, aggressive basketball.
Have you seen the Russian basketball stuff where they're just like fighting?
Wrestle ball? Yeah, we've been watching that at work a lot lately. Can't help it. Like I said, all sports are amazing to me right now. Wrestle ball is unacceptable. It's
just fighting.
horrifying, right? Why do they take their shirt off? I need an answer for that.
I don't know any of the rules.
I don't either.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah, because I've seen like Khabib playing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're terrible shooters. What if a shooter goes in that league?
No, well, that's the other thing too.
Send your man games team in there.
That we would get murdered
Yeah,
first.
physically, yes, but points wise,
right,
you're gonna win the game, but it's gonna hurt.
Well, there've been guys going up for layups, and they're just like forearm shiver to everywhere.
Two-handed weird hip chucks from half court. How come no one's dialed in
hitting
shooting
each other?
over there?
There's no like out of bounds. Like I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what the red. You can just dump people onto their head. And
yeah, it's like rugby to me. Like I just watch all this fighting.
rugby on the hardwood. It just got so much worse. No tackling rules. That's how I felt with Ryan Roundy when we played. Yeah. The only basketball game I really participated in was against his team. And he made a joke about tackling me. And I was horrified. I don't even remember what he said, but he's behind me. And then, all right, I'm sub. My back hurts.
He's in good shape.
He is an absolute unit. He is horrifying.
His thighs were just...
Oh, yeah.
Not that I was staring at his thighs for prolonged periods of time, but...
I normally have the thigh hits my face with the knee. Typically, it'd be attempting to tackle him.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no footage of me just breaking my tackles. So it exists. I know it exists out there.
Dude, and he has like the voice of God. It's just this deep.
Yeah. Like I don't know anything about him outside of his rugby self.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to learn more about the dude.
That's one of the questions. Would he be the answer to who needs to be on this podcast that hasn't been?
Oh, yeah. Probably him. Has Ted been on?
No, we've tried to coordinate schedules. Hasn't worked out, but we're going to try and get
Teddy Farron.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man. I like how he approaches social conversation. At least with the poker, that whole thing, he's very calculated.
Yes.
He's smart with what he says, and he can trick you into saying something dumb, and I appreciate that in someone.
Yes.
Yeah, those two are Ammon, I guess.
Okay.
I really liked Ammon. We've
Cool.
got some mutual friends. That'd be,
I got to get them on there. Dude, you're a stud. Let me make sure I didn't miss any of the other big ones. Like, what's the most embarrassing thing you've purchased on Amazon?
Ooh, I mostly just purchased a bunch of candy. Candies I can't get elsewhere. It's grandma's fault.
What personality characteristic do you hope your kids inherit from you?
Ooh. Oh, that's so tough. Ability to laugh in most situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like that because I think that can help a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not to take themselves too serious. Sometimes I can be guilty of that, but it's something I try to focus on and not take myself too serious and just being who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're 32 years old. What does a successful life look like to you?
Oof. Happiness for myself, for my loved ones, and creating opportunities for myself and for loved ones. Yeah, more opportunity I can create for people in my life. That's like one of the fun things about the theater, like the events coordinator we brought in from Topgolf is one of my very best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to work with people like Brad to this day because they're giving me opportunities and just creating opportunities for people. It's a lot of fun creating a space that people can feel safe to just be themselves. That's a successful life for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good legacy. I feel like to try to leave.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Ooh, I don't want to grow up. Huh? Yeah, I don't want to grow up. Tired, I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea. It's being tired. Kobe said to rest at the end, not in the middle.
Yeah.
It's to feel like I gave it everything. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Tired.
The next 5 years, what is a bucket list item? What's something that you want to do that is extraordinary?
Ooh, extraordinary. I only have one real thing on my bucket list. So this is terrible. I'm a terrible person for that question. 5 years. I would like. I'd like to travel to at least two different continents in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm not super well traveled outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to go to the French Open this year.
Ooh.
This baby decided to show up.
Are you a big tennis fan?
No, actually.
Okay.
No, my in-laws are.
Okay.
Which is why I gotten into pickleball a little bit
Uh-huh.
because they're getting older, so now they're pickleball people. It's
Makes sense.
slowing down, and
Yeah.
tennis is too hard. Tennis is land swimming to me. It's so difficult and impressive.
Yes.
I've always enjoyed watching it, but I'm a terrible tennis player.
It's a tough one.
It is.
It's one of my passions.
Right?
Though.
Oh man, 5 years bucket list. Let's dial it back. We're gonna go smaller.
Okay.
I think I would love to learn the piano.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
about to get a piano in that theater space, and might as well use it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I have a desire to make a YouTube channel called Expert in a Week.
Ooh, I've heard you talk about that before.
Yes. So
I think
swimming
that
was
would
one
be
of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, is that kind of have you done others before that?
No, so I did one on Bitcoin. So
Okay.
like a year and a half ago, like middle of COVID and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a week and just try to understand Bitcoin. But the problem with Bitcoin is that got into cryptocurrency versus because it's
Just Bitcoin.
because
yeah.
cryptocurrency has a whole rabbit hole you can go
Oh,
down. And then
yeah.
within cryptocurrency, it just keeps branching off
Mhm.
into all this stuff. So it's just
Right.
like, oof, and like
I
hashing.
don't have a
and,
Taylor Dance mind.
Yeah,
you know?
all
I
of
can't
this
just be
stuff.
diving into
Yeah.
numbers that don't have shapes tied to them. But yeah.
Yeah, but somebody on LinkedIn said that I should try a musical instrument, and
That'd
so
be sweet.
my daughter's taking piano. So it's like, oh, I wonder what kind of progress I could see in 7 serious sessions
Right?
of piano
Right.
or anything else.
Yeah. What else is on that list of things that you would like to try in the 7 days?
Yeah,
The
so one
swimming
was
thing was cool. I was fun for me to just to follow and see what was happening.
yeah. So after at my 7th swim, so the first one I could really go. It's a 50-yard or meter. I'm not
Mhm.
actually sure, but whatever, 50. We'll call it yards pool, and I could really go down. My first session, I could go one way, which is 25. Sorry, it's 25
Okay.
yards, so it's 50 yards down and back.
25 units.
It's 25 units of swimming
Mm-hmm. Yes.
distance.
Swimming units.
Swimming distance units.
Swimmies, we'll call them.
But it was really like how I could go until I couldn't breathe anymore. It's like
Mhm.
holding my breath because
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out the breathing the first time. Second time, I started to get it a little bit.
hmm
I went down and back maybe twice or 3
Okay.
times. I think I wrote, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
But then I
pretty
figured out the breathing thing. And by the 7th time, I could swim a half a mile straight, like without stopping.
Interesting.
And I could go further
Did you go
than
7
that.
consecutive days, or did you
No.
break it up a little bit?
It was broken up a little
Couple
bit. So I would go
weeks?
like every other day
Okay.
type of a thing.
Okay.
I think I went 4 times the first week and then 3 times the second week. So expert in a week is a little bit misleading, but the thought is 7 sessions.
days.
Yeah, 7 days of.
attempts. I think that's the right way to do that.
But in my mind, it was so exciting for me to see that kind of that progress of something that I was not good at all.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see where your piano
Right.
takes you.
Yeah, I'd be curious because music and math are so tied together.
Yeah. Well, the piano's so great because they're everywhere, and to just be
Right.
able to roll up and like, oh, you guys,
Exactly. You should have Brad teach you. You love this the French horn,
oh, okay,
left hand master.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
Brad,
Brad's
You're
got
holding
secret
out on me.
talent. I swear, Brad had the juice at the French horn growing up.
Dude.
He was good.
I had no
He
idea.
still has it. He says he still has one.
Jeez. Does he
French
keep
horn in
it,
7 days.
does he keep it properly lubricated?
I know he does.
I know for a fact.
Cut that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Uh,
So your bucket list item is to learn the piano
yeah.
or travel to 2 countries.
Yeah, I think the piano I'm more excited about.
Continents, not countries, but yeah, piano.
Yeah.
And you were going to go to the French Open, but then baby came along?
Baby had to show up.
Threw a wrench?
Right, what a jerk.
Ah,
Yeah, the in-laws are going over there. It's an uncle or something that has a home
wow.
not too far.
All right. How many babies you guys going to have?
I think we're going to be a 2 or 3 kind of family.
Yeah.
Max. We've been together for 10 years,
Yeah.
off and on type thing, and decided to tie the knot and settle down finally. So it's, we don't really want to be outnumbered. We don't trust
Yeah.
ourselves.
It's hard, man.
And I have to get new cars. They say the 2 to 3 or the 3 to 4 transition is where it gets real tough.
I have a blog post about us buying our minivan. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, yes,
It
please do.
was quite the experience.
Was that 3 to 4 transition?
That was 2 to 3.
2 to 3?
We ended up having 3. Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
at 3. Yeah, but she had like an SUV, and then all the car seats were like crammed together in the back, and so
Yeah.
we got a minivan, which was life changing. But I'll have you read it. It's pretty good.
Minivans are equipped with everything you need.
They're
Kind of
unbelievable.
frustrating
They're
that it
unbelievable.
is the most efficient
Yeah,
thing that you could possibly purchase,
they're luxurious.
right?
Like road trip wise,
Honestly.
so
yeah.
good.
We used to whip a minivan around in high school
Yeah,
with like 250,000 miles on it. My cousin had. And we took that thing everywhere. We took it to Vegas, or everywhere.
yeah.
Very cozy.
Storage is
Yeah,
great.
Took
Yeah.
the middle seats out
Yeah.
type thing. Only
Throw a
couple
bed
of-
back there, a
Yeah.
mattress. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Options are endless. I'm trading in this Bronco.
How did you? You waited 2.5 years, and you're going back to a minivan.
Big on efficiency.
Yeah. How did you and your wife meet?
She was at Utah State, and I was at a rugby tournament up in Logan, and we had some mutual friends. We were there the day before this tournament, which is probably why we did so poorly.
Hmm.
So we were up too late. But yeah, we were at they do some bonfire type thing for us and for them, and we met there.
You were playing for SUU?
Yeah,
It was a tournament at the Utah
a
State?
7-on-7 tournament up there.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the first time Ryan Roundy murdered my face.
First and wouldn't be the last.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you two be like, you, me, you, me, you, me?
She asked me if she approached me.
Okay.
She's got game. She asked me if I wanted to help her go get sticks for the fire.
Okay. Great
Sticks.
pickup line.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, game for sure. No, but we just stayed up all night just talking about music and things like that and life in general. And she's a lot different than anyone I really grew up around here with. She's from L.A. area and moved up here for school, and then her family followed her.
How did you recognize the transition of, oh, this is a cool girl to this is a girl I want to spend the rest of my life with and have a baby with?
I think I realized it the whole time, but I was just not in that place. I was just so immature for so long. Still am, but at least mature enough to settle down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I definitely recognized it from like the day one, honestly, which is corny and not like me to say out loud, but yeah, just someone that was easy to talk to, and she's very accepting and just a good, kind-hearted person.
Yeah.
She does like the opposite of what I do for her. She works at the road home, and just because it matters to her and it matters to people, and people having houses matters. So yeah, she's a good person and has so many traits that I just don't think I'm capable of having, and I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's sweet. How did you propose?
It was mostly a conversation over dinner.
Yeah.
10 years deep, I was like, should we? We probably should.
We doing this?
Look at the housing market. We probably should buy a house. Like, we want to start a family. I mean, should probably do it in some order instead of just surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty much a conversation over dinner.
That's sweet.
And then a lot of candy and Diet Coke.
Candy's a pattern here.
Yeah, candy is my favorite part of the food pyramid.
What's your favorite candy then? Like if it's, I need to bring a gift to you that will cheer you up and I can only bring one candy. We going like chocolate or are we going like hot tamales? Or we going
depends.
like...
I go in like monthly phases.
Yeah.
I'm back on a Pez phase right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Reese's Sticks.
Okay.
All forms of Reese's, honestly.
The fast break is, in my opinion, the greatest candy ever invented.
That's my wife's favorite candy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the king
We had this
size.
conversation 2 days ago because someone asked, "What's her
Oh.
favorite candy?" And I didn't know because hers changes quite often too.
Yeah.
Fast break is good. It really is good. We got this Reese's like brownie brittle.
Ooh, I haven't had that.
Had it once at Target and can't find it anymore. So shout out Amazon. Ordered some yesterday.
Nice.
I'm be in great shape for this next Man Games.
Dude, I'm telling you, it'll be
Candy
great.
and Diet Coke.
When you beat everybody, you're like, look, guys, I've been eating candy and Diet Coke for the last
Yep.
6 months.
I won't have the same back excuse this time.
Yeah.
It'll be the candy for sure, though.
Dude, that's awesome. I don't want to keep you too late, especially because the roads and everything, but
Appreciate that.
there's a lot that I want to learn about you and from you moving forward. So stay in my life. We'll see you at this next Man
Likewise.
Games. We have the 3 questions to wrap up with. You already answered the one. So here's the other 2. The first one is, who needs to be at Man Games that has not been to Man Games yet?
Well, Jake Halpin, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like we've got him.
Got him?
Sounds like we've gotten him. My brother for sure was one.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he is in as well.
You got a super team
I
coming.
don't know about all that, but yeah, I think we'll hold our own. I know we'll do better than last time.
Are you the type of brothers that will like push each other to be better, or to like fight each other? To what does that relationship athletically and competitively look like?
Ooh, it's a mixed bag, but we love competing with each other. We play golf every Sunday together for the most part. Jill had 4 kids, and that 3 to 4 transition really killed that. So if you hear this, Royce, this is your fault. But no, yeah, we like to compete with each other a lot.
Yeah.
Every Sunday growing up, we played the same game of hoops in the backyard to 100 by 1s and 2s, and our yard wasn't big enough for 2s.
Wow.
And it just turned into a fist fight, but then we'd have to finish the game immediately after. Yeah, but yeah, we're really competitive with each other, but I think we do better for that.
Yeah.
When he and I have been on the same team together, it's been mostly on bad teams.
Yeah.
And Brad's normally been on those too. So it's always been finding ways to still compete
Yeah.
on the highest level that we personally can, or that we can together, even though the talent around us wasn't always the best. Yeah, pretty competitive with each other, but I think we do better for it. We like competing together. It's very nice. We were 2 years in school apart, so every other year we're pretty much on the same team.
Yeah.
In any sport, which is a lot of fun.
We may or may not have had siblings fight each other in previous Man Games.
Oh, we wouldn't anymore. No, that's interesting. That's exciting.
Yeah, we haven't really had any other. We've had like disagreements on
just let
foul
it go.
calls and stuff, but like a certain brother, I would never name
This
names,
is exciting.
but they may or may not have the last name of Dance.
Oh, this is great. I love that.
and there
You gotta
were
let it go, right?
there were fights
It's a
happening.
family duel.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
family business.
it was impressive.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love Taylor Dance. Good dude. Good guy.
I love Taylor too. He's
He's
fantastic.
fun to chat with.
All right, here's the last one for you. You already know what's coming.
Oh, I hate this one.
What does it mean to you to be a man?
Oh man, same as everyone else has said. This is you try not. I tried really hard not to think about this one. Like I said, I've been thinking about my dad a lot lately, and what I valued in him as a father, especially with work taking so much of my time. Something that I really value is being present. That's something my wife has really taught me, is trying to be present. I haven't been great at it just because of work. My dad, he's a CPA, so anywhere from November through the end of April, he was just non-existent. He's just so busy working, but he was always available, which was cool. Like there's never a day where I didn't have the chance to talk to him or to feel like I can go ask him questions. So availability right now for me is something that I think really goes a long way in being a man. Just being readily available and being ready for the opportunities, having your craft polished and being ready to do the best that I can. Being a man, that's such a tough one. That is a hard question. Because you can go the typical provider type thing, but that doesn't feel very me on that answer.
You got a son coming up too. Like what
Yeah.
as a raising another little man.
Right? Oh, man. So, something I've noticed with my grandmother lately, with her passing right now, is there's a lot of people I was able to spend a lot of time with her, and a lot of people that didn't take the time this to be around her are really having a hard time letting go
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to how I'm feeling. Like I'm really sad about it, but I feel like I gave her and she gave me all the time that we possibly could, and I don't feel like we left anything short. I feel like being able to do that is really is what makes a man. I guess
Yeah.
being present again. I guess being present and being available.
There's a book that I'm listening to right now that is called Present Over Perfect.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's a lot of what you're
Yeah.
talking about there. Did you see that American Idol thing happen this last couple of days with the
No.
Hawaiian guy?
Oh, so, I've been following that guy on the old gram, but I didn't
Yeah.
even see what happened with him.
Well, the song that he sang, Monsters.
For his dad.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he's
the
just
one he
like,
wrote, that song kills me. Yeah, I took the deep dive on him when I first heard him. It's, oof,
yeah.
that one's cold, yeah.
That was
But it's so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Super good.
Yeah, I think a man's not like willing to make mistakes, but not just to make the mistakes, but to make sure that they won't make that mistake again. More Kobe stuff,
Mhm.
talking about taking last shots, like the one he airballs against the Jazz, like. But Phil still was going to trust him and take the next one because he knew he was going to put in the work to not ever miss that shot if he has the opportunity to take that exact same shot. So yeah, but being willing to fail, I think a lot of the success I found business-wise especially has been because I've been willing to make mistakes, but also willing to learn everything that I possibly can to make sure that I limit all the other mistakes and that same mistake doesn't happen again. And I feel like there's some manly qualities that come with that.
That's awesome. You're a freaking stud. And I say this often about the guests, especially ones that have come on here of, like Man Games is such a unique opportunity for me to meet new people, to get closer to people I do know. And every person that attends brings something to the event and they add something to the event. And so many people, and myself included, feel like you added so much to the event, even in your limited capacity physically, but just who you are as a person, the vibes that you give off, the kindness that you show to everybody in a highly competitive environment when there are opportunities to not be kind. I think that you just exemplify everything that we want that event to be and the type of people that we want there. So I appreciate you being there. I appreciate the person that you are and for spending some time with me and
I appreciate
talking
that.
about stuff, man.
I appreciate that and appreciate everyone that was there. That whole event meant a lot to me.
Dude.
I had a great time. Good
Round
people.
2 coming up for you.
Excited. Excited to see everyone again.
Okay.
See some new people.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Second to last.
You're going to heavy favorite.